guys. Aside from that part of the chat, when it comes to Arsenal, though, and it's a great segue into the Arsenal transfer segment before we go to some of the comments again. But every single player you're linked to, every credible journalist out there is saying the summer. How frustrating is that as Arsenal fans that you're 6 points off top, you're in a good position in the Champions League, you've got clear holes, especially in the attack, left side of the midfield, but Arsenal, your club, are not going to invest like it looks like Chelsea are going to buy. It looks like United are going to buy. City are going to spend 150 odd million. It looks like Liverpool are about to buy one of the best attackers in the world. How frustrating is it, Kunle, that Arsenal are the only player that journalists I've spoken to that you might go in for late in the window is Evan Ferguson. How frustrating is that as a Gooner that you're not putting your money up?
It's horrible because Terry, I'm not gonna lie to you. Tuesday night, my head was on Mars, like literally, absolutely gone, like because not only do we have a weakened squad, we know the fixtures that we have coming up, and we needed to get business done like early. Like we should have made a bid for a player on January the 1st and get him in before January the 7th because we have a big a big fixture list of big games. We could be out of like all competitions by the end of this week, if you include except the Champions League. Technically, we could be, and if we don't sign anyone, we ain't winning any major trophies this season. That's a fact to me. We put Arteta's and the board have put us in a situation where we're desperate for signings. We need at least two. I'm keeping it 100. We need at least two. One of them needs to be a game changer, and I wouldn't mind a rotation if that's what they want to do. Get one game changer and one rotational player to this squad at the very least, because one player doesn't fix this. Like a lot of my fans were having a go at me because I was like Arteta out, and like, look, I'm not Arteta out now, but I can't see me not being Arteta out by the end of the season because I need a major trophy to keep him in his job. A domestic double, even though that's probably unlikely, that don't even save his job for me right now. And what I'm hearing from the board with the lack of work in the transfer, it's disgusting, to be fair. But also, I also look on the flip side. 5 years in, Arteta, you shouldn't be in a situation where you're desperate for signings in this January window to save your season. And that's my issue. I've been Arteta in. I've backed him, and I said he's the guy to do it. But with the team right now, it's looking like he maybe not be the guy. I think it'll be stupid.
Is he in control of silence, Kunle?
I don't. Well, I think now he is. Now he probably is. I don't think when Eddie was around, he was.
Man has no control.
You can respond after, no problem. I believe he is now. But maybe before when Eddie was around, I don't believe so. But so
is it all his fault after 5 years? Is it all his fault, or is it a little bit unfair to blame him when the sporting directors haven't recruited him the right type of profile?
Do you know what? Like in a way, I hear what you're saying, but there's stupid situations like I'm not letting ESR go if I don't fully believe in Nwaneri yet, because he showed us that he doesn't fully believe in him with how he's kind of eased him into the team. Like ESR would have been great when Odegaard was not available. That would have been great. I don't necessarily rate Vieira, but we needed numbers. And if you're gonna let these spaces go, you got to replace them. But we didn't replace them, so I don't get it. So he's made some crazy decisions. And at the end of the day, if he doesn't get that major trophy by the end of this, it's going to be on Arteta. Because, for example, I don't want to go into it because I might lose my head. But yeah, like definitely keep him in now to the end of the season because it doesn't make sense to get rid of him because I don't think any manager is winning a major from this situation without signings. So let him do his farewell tour to the end of the season. And then we'll talk about it.
If internal conflict was a person, you talking about Arteta is internal conflict. That was just great to see. You're like, I don't want to say it, but
you like him, don't you? I can see that you want him to do well.
Of course I do.
You got to be honest.
But it's like how much can you take? Like how many reasons can you give for his decisions? Like I've been impressed with some of the reasons I've given for some of Arteta's decisions, but it's like, yo. Big man, I mean, I'm one man. I can't take this pain because if anyhow he loses this game this weekend, oh my!
Is this the worst?
I'm coming to the UK soon. I'm
guys, forget about this game because I know you guys are going to try to move on to it. We do not sign somebody this window. We are not serious. as a football club,
Right.
genuinely. Because when it comes down to it, we constantly talk about leaving ourselves short. We have an opportunity to win a goddamn league title. The last 2 years, we didn't win it. We have an opportunity to push on and continue to improve from what we were doing. And you know what they did? In the summer, they signed 2 players on loan, a goalkeeper who's cup tied that we wanted to play in the cups. And of course, Calafiori and Mikel Moreno. They've not improved the team much from the summer. And in this this January, with Bukayo Saka injured, with Raheem Sterling not 100% fit, with no right wing play at all, and Ethan Nwaneri also getting injured in the summer, in the January window. I mean, we need to sign some players. Forget about blaming Arteta, blaming this. The whole board is risk adverse. Arsenal's board is risk adverse. At what cost are you going to continue to be risk adverse? We've lost great players in the past, and we look like we're going down the same road, even though we don't have the same financial restrictions. We said we didn't want to pay 55, 60 million for Isaac 2 Januaries ago because he wasn't worth the market value. Now he's worth 150. We look like idiots. Also, we said a couple windows ago, we also said, we're not going to drop money on Caicedo. We're going to wait for Declan Rice. How did that work out? We ended up getting Declan Rice. We still didn't win. On top of that, we're now in a situation where we can no longer wait. I'm looking at guys like William Saliba. I feel like we're on borrowed time. I'm looking at guys like Bukayo Saka. He continues to be the guy going out there week in, week out, pulling the load. Without Bukayo Saka, we now see what our attack is. It's not even better than Brighton, which is mid-table at best. So I need Arsenal to get their act together. The board, get your act together. And everyone talking about Arteta, do you genuinely believe he looks at that team week in, week out and his options and says, Kai Havertz, Jesus, Raheem Sterling, Trossard, I rate these guys enough to play with them week in, week out. I don't need a signing until summer, because he feels the pressure. As a manager, he feels the pressure and he wants those signings as much as we do. I just believe, be it the owners, be it the board members, be it Tim Lewis, Richard Garlick, whoever is in charge, they're the ones who are constantly saying, we cannot pay the 300K wages. We cannot pay the 67 million pound fee. We cannot pay this. But when it comes to ticket renewal time, guess what? 300 million transfer budget coming next summer. I don't want to hear about next summer. We don't do something now, we're forgetting about our future.
I hear you say that. Let's go to some of the comments that have come in here. Arteta's Arsenal is just Poch's Spurs.
I was just going to say those exact words. That's so true. It's so true. You were on the brink and you didn't invest exactly like we did. I just wait for the decline now.
He's got a trophy, so that changes everything.
Oh, wow. Living off that.
He definitely is living off that.
You weren't even
the thing is, I'll hear the banter because we haven't won the league. But one thing I will not take is the comparison to Spurs, because Spurs, even when they were in that situation, they were still being bigged up for coming in second and losing. Where Arsenal were ridiculed.
Hasn't Arteta?
Bro, we ain't Spurs, bro. Don't do that.
Hasn't Arteta got Arsenal to their highest point tally even more so than like the Invincibles? Like he's done a really good job. By the way, can I just say, on profile of winger Gal, I think Pedro Neto and Mudryk were more likely the right profile for your team.
Mud who?
Yeah, I do. I think that's why you did go after him. We obviously matched the bid, and I think they were the players that you were looking at as a profile for that left-hand side.
A scenario. If his B test comes back fine, Arsenal bid like 67 million for Mudryk. They wanted him, and then Chelsea can go and get Kvaratskhelia. There we go. Like everyone's happy. And then what you both do collectively is stop Liverpool getting stronger. So that you can team up, Team London. Woo! And stop it.
I can see Kudus is on the edge right now. Just ready.
As a club, we should never do transfers with Chelsea ever again.
No, I understand. Jimbo here, obviously Kate's worse half, not better half. He says, Egal, Slot has won the league and a cup. Arteta won the being fed by a man competition, and Slots will win the league this season. You will miss out again. Based on that super chat from Jimbo, if Slot wins the league this year, would you admit that he's better than Arteta?
He's been better, yeah.
Would you say he is better if he wins the league this year?
At this moment in time, I don't think he's better. I think Liverpool have been much more fortunate than Arsenal.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't my question. My question was, please listen to it again.
Yeah.
If Slot and Liverpool win the league, does that make Slot better than Arteta, in your opinion?
For the calendar year, yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
He answered the question. He answered the question. Kunle ESR isn't pulling trees at Fulham. Let's stop the revisionism. The board cares more about what they'll gain. We might end up fighting for top 4, though, is what Emmanuel says here.
No, Emmanuel.
That's an interesting one, but there's no Arsenal fan that would have picked Trossard to play as a number 10 over ESR ever. So I don't know what you're saying. Big up, though. Thanks for the super chat.
You know what, Emmanuel? One thing we got to know is ESR wanted to leave, but it's on Arsenal for letting these guys leave and not replacing them. And we've done this since Aubameyang. And you're telling me that Arteta is like, oh, let Aubameyang leave so we can bring in nobody. I think that's where people make mistakes when they're like, oh, it's all on Arteta.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry. So do you, when it comes to all the when last year Kai Havertz started doing very, very well, scoring goals, the briefing, and I'm paraphrasing the briefing here, was very much along the lines of, this was a deal that Arteta pushed for and Arteta wanted. The media have then stated today, and I'm going to be doing some content on it tomorrow where I give my opinion, but that one of the reasons Edu left is because of the additional power that Mikel Arteta was given. So my question to you is, do you believe he has that power, or do Arsenal only push it out as a PR tool to prop up his prominence amongst Arsenal fans when things are going well? Because for me, it feels like it's got to be one of those two things. He's either got the power, or they pretend he's got the power when something goes right. Which do you think it is?
I think Arteta does have power, but when it comes to what he actually wants and what he's given, I don't think he's always given exactly what he wants. He will have the power if things are within the parameters of what we want, and he has a choice between A or B. He might pick the more Premier League player like a Kai Havertz. But you're telling me right now he wanted Isaac and he settled with Jesus. Do you think his first choice was Jesus over Isaac? Genuinely.
Yeah.
Do you think his first choice was?
I also know if Arteta didn't have power, we'd have Kudus rather than Kai Havertz right now. I know that.
Sorry, you think Arteta was?
If Arteta didn't have power, we would have Kudus instead of Kai Havertz right now.
Maybe that's true. Maybe that part is true. Maybe that part is true. Maybe that part is true. But what I'm saying is, Arteta, don't act like Arteta is not the one who's saying let's go get Caicedo and ends up getting Jorginho. Do you think Arteta happily is taking Jorginho?
That is fair. No, I think that is fair, and I think you've got to have balance in those conversations. There's no doubt.